Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo, and in this episode we're going to take a look at Dwellings of Eldervale, but we are going to show you the solo version playing against the ghosts of Eldervale. I'm going to show you how that works, got to give you kind of a tutorial around the whole solo mode of this game, explain what I like and what I don't like about it, pluses and minuses as usual, and then offer it up to you to see if this is a game that you are interested in from a solo perspective. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so very much for your support. I really appreciate it. Okay, so this is what the game looks like when you set up and start. And I will kind of show you from the beginning, really, how it plays out. So what you're going to do is you're going to construct this board in this configuration, and the board's going to start out with some elemental tiles, and it's going to start out with some ruins tiles, pardon me. And that is basically what's going to happen at the beginning of every game. You're going to choose in a solo game, it's actually like a two-player setup. So you're going to choose 4 elements to play with, and in this case, I'm playing with these 4 elements right here, just because I happen to organize them this way. The solo bot here, the ghosts, are going to take this the place of the black meeples and the black tokens, and so they're going to be playing with a start of the darkness kind of edge in their direction. Hence my elemental power over there showing a little bit of the darkness, kind of a lead there. I'm playing one of the yellow player, so we're going to begin with I think it's with the sun, not necessarily light. I think this is light and that's darkness, and that's maybe the sun or whatever. But anyway, yellow. And so I've started out with that. I start out with this card right here, and this card is going to be an action card you use when you bring your workers home. This game also has asymmetric player powers in it, so when you begin the game, you are going to have a board, and you get to choose one side or the other. The 2 sides are different, and this will determine the asymmetric player powers that you have to start off. And so each time you play, you have the potential to do something different. So I love that right away about the game, that there's lots of different things to explore in the standpoint of what you want to do and how you want to begin. And so the 2 powers that I have a special power for my wizard and a special power for my warrior. So the wizard says that I may prevent a monster from rushing into a realm occupied by my wizard. And that'll happen if I place a guy in any of these realms over here. With the monster in proximity, he would then rush in and attack me, and I'd have to fight for control over that space. The warrior has the Dawn of Light. When you place your warrior and trigger a battle, you may choose a unit in an adjacent realm. That unit joins and fights for you. So one of the main conflict mechanisms here is the battle. And it's actually simpler than you think. This is not really a dudes on the map kind of game, even though you might think about that's the way it is from the way it sort of looks. This is very much a Euro game with a whole bunch of different mechanisms in here. And I would say it's not necessarily area control as it so much. It feels like it's a little bit different than that. But your basic main goal of this game is to gain elemental prowess by building dwellings in these elemental spots, by getting adventure cards corresponding to the different elements, and by holding down those spots and trying to build these dwellings in places that will help you score more, okay? And basically they score 2 points for every ruin they're next to and 2 points for every other dwelling they're next to. So the board placement of these 6 dwellings, up to 6, is very important for scoring points, and that's kind of the area control aspect of the game. Once you build a dwelling in a spot, nobody else can build there, okay? But if you build a dwelling around a bunch of ruins, it's a very good thing, and if there's a lot of dwellings around there, that's also helpful. So for instance, this is a really good spot. If I built here, I'd get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points just by doing that. Okay, and then if for whatever reason I or someone else had a realm there, I could even get 12. That's a lot of points. Okay, so that's a big part of how you score in this game. But at the end of the game, that specific dwelling will be worth a number of points equal to my how far I've advanced my tokens up those elemental dwelling tracks. And so that is a bigger part of it. You want to find ways to increase your presence on that track, and you do that by building those dwellings, like I said, but also through purchasing of these different cards, because every time you purchase one of these adventure cards for whatever the cost is, you will get to go up on the track as well. All right, so let me just demonstrate kind of the game, but actually let me pause 1 second before I do. The way that the ghosts of Eldervale work is you are going to roll a die, and if you roll a 1, 2, 3, you're going to take this action associated with this card. And you're going to use the first meeple on the left side to do what it says. If you roll a 4 or 5, you're going to do this card with the first meeple. And if you roll a 6, you're going to do this card with the first meeple. If they go to an elemental place, they basically take a treasure and just start marching down these tracks. Plus, they they do not score for the treasures up there unless you get one of these adventure cards. And then they will start to push down the element tracks just like you would. So that's the main kind of thing. They will do all the same rules as you. They will place dwellings. They will battle. They will get involved in battles. And I would say the battles in this game are, what you do is when you win a battle, you go up this glory track, which gives you some things that are pretty good. But battling is not, this is not just like a battle game. It's more than that. It's definitely more of a place your dwelling, establish board space. Battling is a part of it. But that's really for fighting for control. It's not like you're going to be raising, huge armies to do this attack. It's much more like a resource management kind of game. So also you get these magic cards here that you can spend, and they do all sorts of different things. Some of them are for the end of the game, like this one. It says at the end of the game, you score based on the number of dwellings that you've built, point-wise. This one is a quest. It says to complete this quest, lose a battle, then you gain 3. This one is something that you can do at any time. It says, well, not any time. It's an action. It says, play at the beginning of your turn. Place your unit in any realm. This placement will not trigger battle or cause monsters to rush in. So this is, if you did this, some of these cards have a cost on them like this. It says it's either you have to have one water form water element, or you have to pay 1 scroll. Now in this game, I don't have the water element at all in here. It's just not present. So I had to pay the scroll to do that. And so those are the 3 kinds of magic. These are interesting in their own right. They do a lot of different things. When you get treasures in this game, you store them in your little, kind of like your storehouse area over here, your tableau. And you can attach them to certain cards. And if you attach them, they enhance the card to give you better rewards. So for instance, this is the basic card here. If I was to do a gather on this basic card, I would get 1 gem. However, if I got this treasure right here at some point, I could attach it here, and then anytime I wanted to, I could do, not anytime, but when I would take actions with my workers, I would then get 2 swords instead, and you can use those for your attack and turns. All right, so let me just give you a feel of the game by showing you a few turns and different things that we could do. So it is a worker placement game, and to get more workers, I have to summon them. Now, when you have to decide what you want to do, you got to think about the board presence of other things there. So for instance, I have this situation right here where this monster is here. Now he's a little bit different. He's actually tame. It says when a player would trigger battle with the winged serpent, they may choose not to, which is good because I don't necessarily want to have an issue with this guy right now, lest he roll more dice than I do and knock me out. So I'm going to go ahead and do the portal because I want to get some more people. And I'm going to spend 1 of any resource because that's what the recruitment cost is. 1 of any resource, I'll spend that potion there and just recruit another worker. That'll give me another worker to use for the rest of the game. Now, when you turn workers into dwellings, they are now lost in the game after you score with them for the rest of the turn. Or for the rest of the game. So that's why you need some more workers to keep the things going. When you place your guy, you're going to put this spirit on there because that spirit is going to be, it's called the Watcher. He's going to help push the direction of where your solo opponent here, the ghosts, are going to be. So let's go ahead and begin the ghost turn now. And that was it. So I basically went there, did the action, that's it. The ghost rolls a 5. So we're going to use this action, which says place him to the left of the Watcher. So when I place him to the left of the Watcher, that is an elemental space. So what he's going to do is he's going to take the left treasure right here, and he's going to put it right there. And that's going to be his turn. Now, if I had covered up a special icon, I would have done something, but that didn't happen, okay? The other thing I failed to mention is that monster is not going to rush in on me because we haven't started you don't actually start the first aggressive period where you can actually do battles and attacks until you first gather everybody back. Once you've done that, you put out your scoring marker on the glory track, and now you're open for battle. So the beginning of the game does start out relatively peacefully. Okay, so my second thing is I do want to, oh, by the way, once you put down a worker, you have to then start placing adjacently to them, unless you have something special like your wizard that can teleport anywhere they want, or your dragon, which can fly 2 spaces away. But basically, when you put that first one down, it's kind of establishing where you're going to spend the rest of your turns and where you're going to go. Now, looking at this, I kind of want to get my hands on this gold card here, because it looks like it could be helpful and give me some stuff. But to do that, I need some more gems. So why don't I put my guy up here on this purple right here, and I'll go ahead and take this treasure and leave it right there. Now, I can spend this at any time I want, turn it into gems, and then I'll lose the token, and I will do that on my next turn to get this card. But let's see what and since I placed it here, the Watcher goes there. Let's see what the worker, or the ghosts do. Oh, and I forgot. When I take that card, I discard it, I put a new one out. Okay, now we're going to have him place one of his workers to the right of that, which is here, and he's going to place a new realm. I can't quite tell in the rules where that is you're supposed to place this. So I've just been placing it kind of at a random spot, just where my eye goes right away. I don't know where you're actually supposed to place it. And maybe I got to figure that out. I just haven't had enough time to sort it out. Things in the rules are okay, but they're organized in a weird way, at least in my opinion. It's like they talk about an entire topic, then they talk about an entire topic, but you'd think it'd be jumping right out like, okay, well, in that case, it says, grow a realm. Well, I'll look at where this thing is to grow the realm. And yet I don't really see where it's supposed to be. So it could be a function of where I'm supposed to go, here in this other rule book, but it's just, I don't know, it's just a little bit tough. The rules weren't bad. They just didn't have a flow that makes it easy for me to know exactly where I need to look it up. Anyway, we put it there. Now, when I put it there, the purple monster comes into play, okay, because it's a monster's lair. And I look at this card, and I bring it out. So this is the Chaos Beast. It says, at the end of a battle, each unit that fought the Chaos Beast is placed in the underworld, even if the Chaos Beast is defeated. So he's just going to kill everybody, I guess, because he's diseased. All right, well, that's not fun. The units, the monsters stay out here so you defeat them, and then once they are defeated, they usually go away for the rest of the game, but there is a possibility they will come back. Okay, so we've played him. Now we're back to me, and I still have 2 workers left. Like I said, I want to get this card. So the only way to get those cards is to go in this space. Well, he is in the space, and because we're in peacetime, I can't get that card yet. So that is not allowed. I can't just move into his spot because that's not part of the peace thing. At least I don't believe it is. I don't think you can move into anybody's space when it's peacetime. I'm just going to play like you can. Anyway, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go to this spot where the dragon is, it's like I'm going to, that still by that logic wouldn't let me do that either. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put this over here. And by putting it over there, I'm going to set myself up for something potentially unique if I can get it off the ground. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Not quite, but we're going to try. So I'm going to get this treasure right here, which is a gold. All right, we're going to use that in a second. You'll see my potentially smart plan, depending on what goes. And of course, I forgot again to swap this out. Okay, rolling the dice now for him, 6. So he's going to put this guy out, and he's going to put it, again, I put this here. So he's going to go right here, and it's going to say construct a dwelling. So what it's going to want to do is it wants you to construct a dwelling, if you can, where this guy is first. And if you can't, then any place around the Watcher. Well, I can't put it here because it's a ruined space, and I can't put it here because it's a ruined space. So he actually, as far as I understand it, won't be building a dwelling. So that will be the end of his turn. He's going to discard that. All right. Now I have 1 more worker left. I'm going to put it over here because I want to take this token right here in the hopes that I can pull something off. All right, so I'm done. Now we roll for him. And I don't know why I'm not using my dice tower. Okay, there's one. So it's this. And I was there. So place a new realm again. In this case, I was supposed to go here, but you can't. Well, you can't go there. You're supposed to go to the spot where he is. Okay? But because I'm there, we can't do a battle. I'm not really sure how to resolve that exactly. So I still have to do some things to figure some of that stuff out. I'm going to place it here anyway like it's peacetime. We're not going to fight a battle, and I don't want to look it up right now. I'm just trying to demonstrate this, and I'm sure people in the comments can tell me what to do, and I'll probably find out what to do right after I finish this video. But usually it didn't last for me that long in the first game, and so I was doing battle almost the entire time, and I didn't really have this situation. Either way, we're placing a new realm. We're going to put it right here. Okay? No monsters, so it just stays right up there. All right? Draw another card. Now, I'm out, so I have to regroup. So in order for me to regroup, what I'm going to do is I've got to bring my guys back. But when you bring your guys back, you can spend them on any cards that have those little symbols right here. See, remember what I said I had a plan? Well, my plan is to build that dwelling there because that's a sweet scoring spot, right? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this guy off. I'm going to put him on the dwelling spot that says dwell. And before that, I need to have 3 workshop hammers to do that. Well, I have 1 here. I can spend this token for 1 because it has a workshop hammer on it. And I can spend this gold token, which is a wild. So in spending both of these, I now have the 3 hammers I need. I can build my first dwelling. And remember I said that was a cool space. That space is going to score me a ton of points. All right, so that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points right there for that dwelling. So I'm going to go ahead and go up on my score track and get a nice sizable lead to begin with. Plus, it gives me 2 on the darkness track over here. So I'm going to go 1, 2 on that darkness track and start working my way up on the elemental power side. I still have things to do. I can still bring my guys home. Remember I said I can place these tokens on spots that have stations in the cards. I might as well put this here so that now when I gather, I get 2 gems instead of 1. Okay, 1, 2. And then I'm going to put this here so I can summon my dragon now. So now my dragon will be summoned for 2 gems and the scroll. So what that now is, that helps me to be able to fly around. He also rolls 3 dice in battles, so that could be really strong for me. So I'm excited about that. All right, I've exhausted my workers. I don't have anybody else out there, so my gather turn is finished. And also, this game does come with a decent player aid to kind of tell you the steps of the battle and scoring and your steps of your turn. The only thing I wish this did was maybe provide a little bit more of a walkthrough as far as how to execute some of these things, but it doesn't, and that's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm done. I've regrouped. Now, since I've regrouped, we are now in battle mode. All right, so I've done that once. Both of us now are able to attack one another. He goes right into it. Once you do, he goes right into it. So now let's see what he's going to do. He rolls a 5. So since he's not out of workers, he's going to still place. And this says he's going to go right on this card here. And I'm assuming he's going to be able to go there anyway, even though he has a person there. And he's going to get a new adventure card. Okay, so the new adventure card is going to be dependent on what he rolls over here. So he rolls a 5, which means it's a darkness adventure card. He ignores the card. He will score only the elemental bump for it. He puts it right in his card pile for adventures, and now he's at level 3 right there. All right, so it's pretty simple. You can see how he kind of works through these things. This deck is fairly self-explanatory, except for the rules that I need to iron out, which I'll iron those out in a second. And anyway, so that's kind of how it works. You can see the back and forth, back and forth. Oh, and by the way, I was supposed to bring these back. Let me demonstrate a battle so you can see how that goes. And that's kind of the other part of the game that will kind of get you going. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a battle. Let's see where it makes some sense. I'm just throwing things away. Well, I said I want to go here. So I'm going to start a battle there. All right. So we're going to put this guy here. Now, he is going to contribute 2 dice because he's got 2 people there to fight. Okay? And I am going to contribute 3 for my dragon and 1 because of my adjacent dwelling. So that's 4. And the way the battles work are quite simple. You roll the dice, whoever's got the highest number wins. And if you got a tie, you go to the next highest and so on. So those fell out. He has a 6, I have a 6. So those are a tie. He has a 6, I have a 6. So those are a tie. He's out of dice, I got a 5, I win. So when I win, I'm going to kick him out of the realm. He's going to go here, and he will be able to fight me as a ghost from that area from now on until he regroups. So that makes him a little bit more tricky. I won, so I move my glory up 1, and that gets me 2 points right here. 1, 2. And I also claim the space. Oh, before I did that, I was supposed to take the action in the space. You always take the action first, then you do the battle. So I'm going to take that action now anyway. All right, and it's a monster. I'm going to put the monster well over here because I don't necessarily want to deal with that monster right now. Flip it over to tell me what it is. It's got some kind of special stuff about it. That's not the monster. This is the monster. All right, and then I'm going to get the chance to buy 2 of these cards. So, unfortunately for me, I can't afford either of those cards. Normally I wouldn't jump to that kind of conclusion because I think it through a little bit more, but I wanted to demonstrate the battle side of things. So what you'd end up doing is you'd end up buying a card, getting the element, and then you can actually buy another one if you want, get the element. In this case, since I couldn't buy any of them, I don't even know if I could take the action. I know if you can't buy a second card, you just tuck it under. I will look that up very briefly here. Adventure cards. Well, the point is, yeah, see, so choose one of the face-up cards from the train, pay its indicated cost, moving to your tableau, and then you may obtain another one, or if you must choose a face-up one, you could discard it face down if you, and then you gain another card in the same manner as above. So, I don't know what the real deal is, but basically, and I'll find that out looking through here, through the rules, you would then take one into your area by paying for it, and then you would just shuffle another one down. But I don't have enough to pay for any of those cards, so I just wanted to demonstrate the battle for you. Either way, that is a good feel of the game, the way the game works. It takes about, I'd say about 2 hours to play for a solo game, but it moves along pretty good. When the solo guy comes back, he will score points, 2 points for every ruin spot he's in, 1 point for every elemental spot, and then he'll bring his guys back here and largely play the same way as you do. And that's about the size of it. So let me go ahead and tell you what I think of the overall experience. Okay, so before I go on, I did look up those 2 rules. Number 1, the ghost ignores placement restrictions. So that means he could place multiple guys in the same space if need be. It also means it doesn't matter about where he places on the board. He just goes to the spot you're supposed to. All right, the second thing is that that dragon battle was not legal because I couldn't buy at least one of those cards. So I just did that for effect. I will back, I'd have to back that up, and I wouldn't be able to do that in a regular game to do what would just happen. So anyway, let me give you some things that, first of all, I really like this game, okay? I like it, and I'll tell you why. But let me tell you about a couple things that I found a little bit difficult. There was just a lot of little things in the game that take some time to learn. As you saw me working through it, more familiarity will be good, but I did struggle my first play through this. There's a lot of rule lookup. And I'm not sure if it's because I was distracted reading the rules or something like that, or it was just a ton to digest. I mean, there is a decent amount of things to understand when you're going to different places. The different spots are okay, but those fringe cases that sometimes just seem a little bit, I don't know. They mention the rules, but it's like, it's not easy. And I wish I had a player aid that made the ruin spaces a little bit easier, and even a player aid for the ghost worker. Now the ghost player does have a player aid built into its little board, as you can see there, which helps with some of that stuff. But just maybe just a smidge more would have made it just a little bit easier, and I would have kind of launched right into things and not had to keep going back to the rules. Besides that, there's a lot to like here, but this game is its own beast. It really is. You've got a couple of different mechanics that are combined that you don't normally see. Worker placement with a battle mechanic is different. I'm sure it's out there, but I don't see it very often. The gathering of resources and such to build the dwellings and then having those scoring placements is really cool. And I like that. I like, though, that there's so much more to this game than just that. There's all of the magic cards. There's those adventure cards that really are different. They provide different abilities for certain units. They provide different ways to gather stuff. They up the presence you'll have on the elemental track, which is extremely important for scoring. And yet you've got this, this tug of war and this whole thing to consider with the monsters. If I place here, is this monster going to rush in? Am I going to waste my turn? I'm not going to necessarily waste it, but am I going to get everything out of it? So there's some definitely meaty decisions. And I started here. Well, that was a good one, but now I don't have a lot of juicy actions that are right next to it. So maybe I don't want to go there. Maybe I want to be over here because I have to stay adjacent to my people. And so that's also another cool aspect. I love the fact that in this game, there are let's see, there's 16 player powers, 16 different types of guys you can play, all with slightly asymmetric situations that have to do with the way their workers work. And those are not too difficult to understand because they're printed right exactly where you need them on the player board. So that's easy. Also, the way that you activate your workers after you regroup, and only when you regroup, is different because you might want to do something right away, but wait, I can't do that until I regroup. Okay, well, maybe I will wait on that. Oh, shoot, somebody attacked me and knocked me off the spot that I was going, not somebody, but the ghost knocked me off the spot I was going to build that dwelling because I lost the battle there. Darn it, I should have probably regrouped early. Maybe that would have been a better mode. And I think, you can decide to do that, one way or the other. You don't have to place all your units. You could regroup early if you really want to. But the more units that you have on the board, you could, if you regroup early, you don't use them in as many actions. So there's a lot of interesting mechanisms here, I think, that make a really unique, fun to play solo experience. I don't have any problem with the ghost player. It was very competitive, although I did beat it by a couple points in the first game I played. I also think it got really unlucky. It kept rolling a 6, almost like just a ridiculous amount of 6s, which means it put one guy out, then it regrouped. Put 2 guys out and regrouped. It just kept regrouping, which I think probably didn't do it a lot of favors in the points that it could have gotten. I think that probably just was a little bit unlucky on that side of things. There is no, as far as I could tell, there's no real way to modify the difficulty level of the ghost player. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think there is. The other thing, and I just bought the base game. I didn't buy anything with deluxe. This is a second edition. But if you really love the game, you can add even more monsters to it, which change up the way those monster tiles work. And there's a few other promo tiles that you can get to, 2 of which did come with this game. It was like a golem tile and another dragon tile that did different things. And I haven't explored those yet, but again, there's a lot of content in here and a lot going on. And it really took me by surprise because I was expecting something maybe a little bit more like some of the other games that feel like this, or at least I thought that I was going to feel like this, where you're going to be putting guys on the map and there's going to be some conflict, but it's going to be, I don't know, maybe I was just expecting just from the box and the hexes something a little bit more like Scythe or something like that, but this does not have that feeling at all. It's definitely more free-flowing. Scythe, kind of felt a lot more constrained. Here you got a lot of things you can focus on. There's a lot of avenues that you can try to do. So anyway, I really enjoy it. I think it's worth checking out. It's hard I got lucky. I walked into my game store and there it was, and I was able to pick up a second printing. I think they're going to make a third printing soon. If you want and you find a copy and you are interested, you probably should jump on it. Otherwise, you might have to wait for a third printing in the near future, I guess, because it seems like this is a pretty popular game. But I found it very enjoyable as a solo. So hopefully you do too. if you're into this sort of thing. If you're not into a game where there's some uncertainty or some randomness with the dice or some other things, then maybe you want to pass. But I still think there's a lot to like here. Now, I didn't exactly explain how the game ends. The game ends when you build all 6 dwellings, or when you finish placing the board tiles out. After that point, you get one more turn. Both players get one more turn, even the person who ends it, and then you score. And then again, most of the points are all related to your board presence times the number of elements or where you are in the elemental spot. So you see some of that action there. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to play in the future, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you.